Hello, America and curling fans from Canada and Newfoundland. This is your host, Ryan Olson, bringing you the first draw of the 2025 Men's and Women's Club Playdowns, part of the doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships. This is your host, Ryan Olson, and we have a contest between Team Walsh of the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club, playing with the Blue Rocks, taking on Team McDonald of Coyotes, and they'll be throwing the Yellowstones. Teams had a practice and draw to see who would go last, and it appears that McDonald won that draw to the button and will have the hammer to start off the first end. We have 7 women's teams in the field, and on the men's side, we have 12 teams, so it's a pretty full field. We have a full event. We have 13 games on tap all week long. I'll be here for every draw, every game, and hopefully you will stay tuned as well. So looks like we're about ready to get underway as we see the first rock coming from Kim Chapin from Team Walsh. Doing a clockwise in-turn rotation. And that is guard to start things off. And the lead for Team McDonald is Alicia Perry, looking to draw around or draw past that blue stone. It's going to wicket though, and the Yellowstone is going to roll and settle in the top of the house, I believe. Nope, it's a tight corner guard. All right, getting used to the camera angles again. This is the house equipment from Coyotes, not Coyotes, San Francisco, and definitely appreciate this equipment that they do have. And that second stone from Chapin is a center line guard, which is a good reminder that the no tit rule is in effect this week. And the no tit rule, as a reminder, is that for the first 5 rocks of the end, an opponent cannot dislodge an opposing stone that's placed on the center line. If that happens, then the non-offending team has a choice to either let the rocks play out or to reset them to where they were before the offense happened. And so this is an example of what we're going to see right there. That is a no-tit rule violation. And so now I think they're going to talk about this and see what they want to do with that. So they are choosing to remove the offending stone and put the original stone back in place. And again, remains in effect through the 5th stone of the end. So that means we're going to see the no-tit rule and the free guard zone rule come off after this rock from Kate Garfinkel. And I think she's going to try and draw around that center line guard that was just put up. Looks pretty good, maybe a smidge heavy, and it's going to go through the house out of play. So now teams can hit guards out of play if they wish, with the sixth rock at the end, as we see the first stone coming from Michaela McLean. This path might be a little heavy, a little fast, pardon me, but it ends up on the T line, it appears. It's partially exposed. As now Walsh would like Garfinkel to hit that stone out. And as we go through the game, I'll let you guys know what other games are in action. We have all 5 sheets in play this draw, and I think most of the draws throughout this tournament. This hit looks like it's going to be made as we see it go out of play. That was a good soft weight hit there from Garfinkel. This is another draw coming from McLean. A similar path. It's a little tighter, and it's trying to get about 20% buried. Although I definitely think that Walsh and the third for Walsh, Gabrielle Coleman, will be able to pluck it out. And indeed, that hit is made. Successful takeout from Coleman. So the scoreboard says Team McDonald, and the reason is kind of how curling broadcasts handle when the skip, the namesake of the team, is not present, and Andy McDonald's not present for this event. It's for a very good reason. She is representing Team USA at the World University Games in Torino, Italy. So she, I guess, opted to go represent Team USA as opposed to be here, which you can't blame her. As that hit from Jen Collins was made. So stepping in place of Andy McDonald is Megan Grow, who is a skilled skip in her own right. We'll definitely hear more about her and the other players as we continue through this broadcast. And this outturn counterclockwise draw, just a smidge heavy. Let's see where we are in the house. Looks like we have one blue stone in the back 12 foot. And that's it. We have 3 guards. As we see the net stone come from Jen. This appears to be another draw. Gonna maybe park it right on top, or at least in front of Coleman's second stone there. Weight looks to be a little up. And it will go through the house out of play. So just like that, we are to skip stones. As you can see in the background behind the players, you can see many clocks. The one clock that we are concerned about for this game is the blue and yellow clock that's counting down from about 28 minutes just now. Both teams have about 30 minutes of what's called thinking time, which is the time between shots, essentially. So as we see, Sarah Walsh gets sets. So when she starts delivering, that's when the clock stops. And then when the stone comes to rest, then the clock for the other team starts until the other team's player delivers her stone. So, so way to kind of keep the game moving along. Curling is not the fastest of sports, but we also want to have timely play, which and this is one way to do it, especially when you get to the more competitive levels. So that draw is successful. It looks like it's pretty open. So Grow could maybe hit and roll underneath perhaps a little bit. That's what they're looking at. And then they would be sitting second. They would be sitting shot, somewhat covered, which seems to be the call as we see Megan make her way down the ice. So as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, we have 7 women's teams in the field, which makes it tricky for scheduling purposes. And the best solution is to do a full round robin. So each of these women's teams will face one another. So each women's team will be playing 6 games, and that will set which teams will make it to the playoffs on Saturday, and then concluding Sunday. So it looks a little wide. It's going to roll. It's going to make contact, and then the shooter's going to roll through the house out of play. Um, the shot stone is moved, kind of crosses the center of the house, settles into the bottom from this view. It is exposed, but the advantage is in favor of Walsh in this early end. And it looks like they're considering drawing to the top 4 and sit 3 and just really narrow the scoring area for Team McDonald's last. As Sarah Walsh gets set in the hack. Just looking for a draw. This would be a good one to time for people who like timing rocks. I do. That might be why I'm here this weekend. Ice was fairly fast, up to about 15 seconds, hog to hog to reach the T line, the center of the house. Sweepers are on it. I guess also you looked to see what the miss might be. That was about 16 seconds, so it's going to be a little on the light side, but you look to see what the miss is, and the miss being light's not bad. I think sitting 3 would have been preferred, but a guard is not a bad outcome. And so now Megan Grow has 2 options. I think they're looking for the hit and roll, just based on where the broom is, although it also could be drawing. It's tough to say. I think they were looking at the hit and roll, but I was doing some paperwork. But facing 2, Team Walsh did their job, forcing Team McDonald's to a possible single here with the last shot here in the first end. Chat said just knows that that's also a great outcome. Although based on the weight, it looks like it's drawing, but it also looks like it's over curling. They're sweeping to hold, but it's just dug in right there, just in front of the hog line. And it's going to crash. I don't think it's not even going to get to the guards. So to start things off, it's a steal of 2 for Team Walsh. So Team Walsh stole 2 in the first ends. We're going to take a pause in the action, but we'll be right back to the 2025 Club Playdowns as part of the MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. And the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships are brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Each week throughout the competitive curling season, Ken Pomeroy updates the site to include stats and information about the top men's and women's teams from around the world at doubletakeout.com. And by curling.gg. Test your skip skills against your friends online at curling.gg, free online curling platform with real physics simulation. And by Endgame Curling, manufacturers of brooms, including the travel broom, which breaks into 3 and is great for travel. Endgamecurling.com. That mostly worked. First rock here in the second end. That's going to settle in the top of the house. Oh. Team McDonald does keep the hammer, but Team Walsh has the points. And this is going to just breeze past the Walsh rock there. So another miss, unfortunately, from Team McDonald to start the second end. And it looks like they're trying to put up a guard for Team Walsh. While the rocks are in play, let's go around the rings and let you guys know what might be happening on some of the other sheets. Sorry about that. So we do have 5 games in play. Starting on sheet A on the right, that's Team Aces from Silicon Valley taking on Team Ewers from OC Curling. And then sheet B is our feature game, Team Walsh taking on Team McDonald. Sheet C is a contest, is a men's contest between Team Barajas of San Francisco Bay Area Curling taking on Team Betts of Wine Country. The other 2 sheets, D and E, are also men's games. We have Team Tate from San Francisco taking on Team Murray from Coyotes. And then we have Team Aronson from Coyotes taking on Team Myers. And I'm pretty sure that... Sorry, multitasking. Aronson is a Coyotes rink, and Team Meyer is a San Francisco rink. So you can keep track of all the games at bondspieler.com as we put our attention back on our feature game. Decent number of rocks in play. They're all Walsh blue right now. And that successfully taps the shot stone in the house back to the top of the lid, I believe, top of the button. Actually, it's just a full 4 foot. But teams are moving pretty quickly now as we see the net struck coming from Team McDonald's second. That would be Michaela, I believe. Well, that's going to miss, unfortunately. It's going to put another one in there. Parked it on top. Has a pretty good statter in front of the house. So now Megan just wants to start clearing rocks in front of the house, which is a pretty smart call. As we see Michaela throw her second stone. Looking to move some granite here. It does dislodge one of the blues in the house, but also promoted one of the blue guards into the house. So the number of blue stones in the house remains unchanged at 3. So it looks like Walsh is just going to draw more blues into the rings with the first rock coming from Gabrielle, pardon me. I always say it wrong at least once. And it looks like I put up a guard. So it looks like Grow is going to be asking the third Jen Collins to do some more cleaning action on aisle 2, as it were. And it gets one of the blues out and just kind of kicks the other blue that was in the top of the house to the side. So not a double takeout, although the possibility was there. And I'm just waiting to say double takeout for those at home who know why. So now it is Walsh sitting first and third shot, and McDonald sitting the second. This is going to draw on top of the center guards, kind of protecting that path down the middle. And so it looks like Grow wants to tap that yellow forward, tap that yellow up, and kind of push that blue out of the way. Looks a little wide. Let's see where it ends up. Oh, just a little too wide. Just some pinball action. pushes that blue further out, and it does actually accomplish a goal of putting that yellow under cover. So it's going to be hard for Walsh to get that yellow out. However, putting the shoe on the other foot is going to be hard for Team McDonald to get that shot blue out of the way. So, oh, Tate is from Coyotes. Apologies. And then, as Jacob in the chat noted, if Andy's in Torino who's skipping, it's Maiden Grow who is skipping. As I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, she's a skilled skip in her own right. As we are to skip stones, as we see Sarah Walsh throw her first. Coleman's coming out to help sweep. It's looking to put up a guard there. And mission accomplished. So now it's kind of tricky for Maiden Grow and Team McDonald. Looking to do an in-off, which seems to be the most likely shots to hit the inside of that blue next to where the broom is, and then scoot towards the center and tap that blue out of the way. Not the easiest shot, but also not the most difficult shot in the playbook, as it were. As we see Megan throw her first. And let's see if the shot's there. Gets one, taps the blue back, but just barely. Looking at the overhead, it does look accessible on this the bottom side of the screen from here. So not a bad outcome. It does clear one of the blue stones from the house. Just a little bit more weight would have probably had that shot. And so Coleman has the broom down to close the door on Team McDonald's chances to get rid of the blue. And we'll see if the shot is made from Walsh. As her shot's away. Just looking for a guard. The line is the most important part, like where it's going to end up on the ice. And we're seeing a decent amount of curl today. I'm going to say maybe 2.5 feet. And that does end up in a pretty solid place. So now that any heavy draw on that right side is not in the picture, as far as I can tell. It's pretty high up. I mean, if if people were feeling adventurous, they could try to run that blue back and double them both out. But that's super tricky, and discretion being the better part of valor. It appears that Grow is going to draw and hopefully be full 4-foot. That Walsh stone's in a really great place, though. Ooh, they're changing the shots. Moving on to the other side. I looked at this. There's so much traffic here. There's so much congestion. Looking to run the blue onto the yellow onto the blue. I believe. This is the last rock coming from Maiden Grow for Team McDonald's. Don't know if it's there. We did some pinball action, just kind of moved some rocks in front of the house, and is another steal of 1 for Team Walsh to take a 3-0 lead here in this game. Another pause in the action. We'll be right back to the doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships, coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. While we have another pause in the action, let's go around the rings, update you on the scores. On sheet A, Team Aces of Silicon Valley and Team Ewers from OC Curling. Ewers stole 2 in the first, and then Aces responded with a single in the second. It's currently 2-1 Ewers. Sheet B is our feature sheet. Let's show you all the games in action. Sheet B is our feature sheet. It's currently 3-0 Team Walsh over Team McDonald. Sheet B, a men's game. We have had a blank in the first end with Barajas holding the hammer. Carried it to the second end, but Team Betts stole a single in the second end to have a 1-0 lead. That's Team Betts of Wine Country over Barajas of San Francisco. Sheet D, another men's game. Team Murray started with the hammer, was forced to a single in the first against Team Tate of Coyotes. Both teams are from Coyotes. Currently 1-0 on Bonspieler. And then on sheet E, Team Meyer of San Francisco stole 2 in the first and then stole another in the second for good measure. They're currently up 3-0 over Team Aronson of Coyotes. So again, you can keep track of all the action at bonspieler.com. Returning to the action on our feature sheets. Walsh put up a center guard, and Team McDonald opted to draw around, but this is going to be a little heavy and don't go through the house out of play. And so Walsh is going to now draw on the other side. As we see the second stone coming from Kim Chapin. Looks to be coasting a little bit. It's going to settle in the back of the house, I believe. The back 8 foot to be precise. A pretty good shot there. So Gro's going to try that draw around again. This stone coming from Alicia Perry. She's been curling for 3 years. She was a winner at the Summerspiel in Kelowna, BC, playing lead, and was also a C event winner at the lead position at the Coyotes spring training event in March 2024. So it's going to settle in the back of the house. Kind of a slight miss there from Perry. It's in play, though, which is good. And this end is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Doubletakeout.com keep track of your favorite men's and women's teams from around the world with the latest stats and information at doubletakeout.com. That's another center guard. So that was the fifth rock to the end. So guards can be hit out of the way, but those guards are probably going to help uh, Team McDonald at this point. As we see the first rock come from Michaela McLean. Michaela's been curling for 2 years. Her experience includes an appearance at last year's Club Playdowns, finishing in third place in the lead position. It's going to settle in the back of the house. Going to tap the shot rock back slightly, and that yellow stone is going to be exposed. But I do believe that's the shot rock. As we see the net strike coming from Kate Garfinkel. Should be her second. And Kate has been curling for 17 years. She's participated at several MoPac and MCA mixed events. MCA, I believe, is, I don't want to guess. I think it's the association in Ohio, that area, but I would have to double check. And then she also represented, I would believe, the region at the 2022 Women's Club Nationals. So this is a little heavy. It's going to miss everything, unfortunately. So I don't know if that's the weight that Grow wanted. As we see the next stone coming from Gabrielle Coleman. She's been curling for 10 plus years. Was the part of the MoPac Miss Championship team in 2022. And was also at the 2009 Olympic trials as a competitor. That would have been to qualify for the Sochi Games. And that's a pretty good rock. Looks like it's biting the top of the house. And so those guards that were kind of helping grow earlier are not helping grow any longer. So she's got the broom down to try and do some cleaning action. As we have the first stone coming from Jen Collins, playing Vice this week for Team McDonald. Been curling for 3 years. Some of her experience includes a third place finish at the 2023 MoPac Club Playdowns for Coyotes, and that was a pretty good hit and roll a little bit. Moves two of the center blues off the center, gets rid of one blue entirely, and then the other blue kind of shifts to the side, opens up that middle really nicely. That was a great shot there from Collins. And so it looks like Walsh wants to close the door on the right side from this view. It'll be the left side in 10 seconds. Looks like they want to go to the top of the house. That's going to settle in the full 12 foot. So now Walsh is sitting 3, and it looks like Groh still wants to do some cleaning action, which Seems like a very prudent call for Team McDonald. Some of Collins's other experience includes being the third event winner at the All-American USWCA Women's Bonspiel at St. Paul Curling Club in Minnesota. And this shot looks like it's going to be get one. Is it going to get two? No, it taps, just kisses that blue in the back of the house area. It does get rid of one of the blue counters, and so now it is Walsh sitting two, but McDonald has 3 and 4. So there might be some possibility opening here, a window opening for Team McDonald. As Sarah Walsh gets set. Walsh has been curling for 17 years, has appearances at the Club National Championships in 2012 through 2014, 2017, and again the past 2 years, 2023, 2024. And this shot's pretty good. Definitely closes the door slightly on that left side. One of the nice things about curling is that it's hard to close all the doors, as it were. When you look at this overhead, there appears to be a thin port, maybe, but just where the way the rods are positioned, I don't think the port is really there. And it looks like they're opting to draw. I think especially as I think Team McDonald and Grow wants to get on the board at this end to get something to get back into this game. Looking for a draw. This is Megan Grow's first here. Skipping Team McDonald this weekend in the absence of their skip, who is representing Team USA at the World University Games in Torino. Looking for a draw. Her first draw was, or her draw a couple ends ago was a little light and curled into the pile. This one looks to be a bit better. Looks to still be a little on the light side as the sweepers are really trying to coax it into the house. And it looks like it's going to get there. Is it going to be shot? And it is. That's a great draw there from Megan Grow. So Walsh can play the scoreboard a little bit and just draw on top of the McDonald stone and essentially kind of force Team McDonald to a single point, which again, looking to the scoreboard, that's a solid outcome for Team Walsh. Seems like a good rock to time for all those rock timers at home. Part of the Rock Timer Society. It's a new club that we're starting here. The cost of admission is free. This rock's a little up, 14.143 seconds. Taps the yellow back, and then the shooter's gonna stick around for looks to be second shots in the top of the forefoot. So McDonald can throw a pretty similar shot to her. Okay. So looking for two, looking for a hit and a slight roll back towards the center. That seems like a great call there from Walsh. Uh, I play lead a lot, so I'm definitely in the let's draw club, but oh, still trying to decide the right weight here. Opting for the draw and rolling in, maybe. Just given how much the rocks are curling, I think it would be prudent to give a little bit more ice than they're thinking. Uh, but let's see what Megan Grow here has on tap for her last here in the third end. So they're trying to push it over. It's going to hit. Okay, so they needed like another 2 inches of curl, I think, to really get that second point. But as it is, Team McDonald is on the board with a single here in the third end. Another pause in the action. We'll be right back to the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by Curling.gg. And ongoing coverage of our event is being brought to you by Endgame Curling. Unlock the next level with Endgame's leading edge curling brooms and accessories, including the Endgame Origin, the Endgame Icon, and the Endgame Travel Handle at endgamecurling.com. So for the first time this event, Team Walsh has the hammer. And let's see what they can do here. As we see the first stone coming from Team McDonald's lead, which would be Alicia Perry. My apologies. And this is going to end up into the house. So just a smidge on the heavy side. As we see Kim Chapin throw her first for Team Walsh. Kim's been to Club Nationals pretty much the same years that Sarah has, as she taps that yellow stone out and the shooter will stick around. So Kim was at Club Nationals in 12, 13, 14, 17, 23, and 24. As we see the net stone coming from Perry. When she is not curling, she enjoys baking, reading psychological thrillers, and spending time with her cat named Archer. And I would make a joke about phrasing, but I don't have a setup. All right, so that is a guard. It's not on the center line, so the no tick rule is not in effect for that stone. It looks like Chapin's going to draw around. She's been to Arena Nationals several times, winning silver in 2012, bronze the following year, and then winning gold in both 2014 and 2015. So just to recap again, Team McDonald is on the ice, but their skip Andy is in Italy playing for Team USA as part of the World University Games, and Megan Grow is skipping for Team McDonald. As we see the net stone coming for Team McDonald, that is Michaela. And looking to, I think, get into the rings. Settles in for second shot. Somewhat buried, so it's going to be hard for Walsh to get that stone out. Interesting setup here. Looks like they're going to try and split the rings for Team Walsh. Let's see if it's going to be a second shot. It looks like it's going to settle in for fourth shot. So not just another blue in the rings, but maybe not as successful as they were hoping. So it looks like Walsh wants to get rid of one of the blues, maybe get rid of both of them. Let's see if there is a double on tap here. No pun intended. Gets rid of one of the blues, and then it chips the yellow that was in the house to the edge of the 8-foot ring on the top side from this view. And now it is Walsh sitting 1-4, and Team McDonald sitting 2-4, 2-3, pardon me. As we see the net strut coming from Garfinkel. So just gonna interesting shot there. Got past the guard and hits the yellow out of the way. So now there are 3 Walsh stones in the rings and 1 McDonald stone on the edge there. This end is being brought to you by Endgame Curling. Looks like a hit and a slight roll on top of the blue on the wing. That looks like a pretty good shot there from Jen Collins. So it looks like Walsh wants to clear the guard as Coleman gets set pretty quickly. Teams are doing pretty well on time. They have 30 minutes of thinking time for 8 ends of regulation. And looks like they're going to get to the fourth end break without too much difficulty. Does peel the guard. Moves a bunch of stones out of the way. Let's look at the overhead shots. Perhaps a slight miss because it got rid of a lot of the blues in the rings. It is now McDonald sitting first and second with 1 Walsh rock on the in the 12-foot circle. So Maiden Rowe wants Team McDonald to put up a guard type rock. I don't know if it's at least a front stone in front of the shot rock. Looks to be a little up, so maybe they're going to tap it back. Now it does tap it back. Puts a third yellow in the rings. Has some offsets. Possible double situations here. At the very least, Walsh is going to want Coleman to get rid of the shot stone right down the middle or close to the middle. And it does get rid of the shot yellow. And we're kind of back to where we were a couple shots ago, where slightly different, but you have McDonald sitting 1-3 and Walsh sitting 2-4 in terms of the order of rocks in scoring order. So it looks like Maiden Grow is going to tap that Walsh rock out of the way. Maybe roll towards the center a little bit under some cover. Let's see what Maiden has on tap. So, as I mentioned before, Maiden Grow is skipping for Team McDonald this weekend. Has a lot of experience. She has been curling for 11 years. And that hit is made, and we're going to see a roll. Just, ooh, really nice roll there from Maiden. That's a good shot there. I've been trying to score shots in terms of like how if they make their shot on a scale of 0 to 4, but there's so much going on. It's been hard for me to keep track. But I would score that as a 4. That was a good shot there from Maiden Grow. So now Team Walsh does have the hammer this end. So Team Walsh, the Blue Rocks, have 2 more to go, while Team McDonald has a single stone remaining as they're talking over their possibilities. That top yellow is not in a great place. It's also not shot stone. So I think they're looking at putting a blue stone on the edge of the 4-foot near the tee line, which seems like a pretty solid call. I was thinking about maybe hitting that shot yellow in the back 8-foot on the right side of the house from this view, and then rolling towards the center a little bit. But the draw seems to be pretty good. And also, it would make it trickier for Team McDonald and Grow to hit that Walsh blue out of the way. So some of Walsh's other experience was taking part in the Pacific International Cup in 2015, finishing with silver in the international pool. This is it took off on them. I don't know if it picked. Actually, you can kind of see Walsh looking around the ice. She picked something up. I don't know if she picked something up or just kind of ran her hand over the ice. But that does not seem to be where they wanted that stone to go, unfortunately. And so now the advantage swings in favor of Team McDonald and Maiden Grow as Maiden makes her way down the ice. Before she started sliding down, she indicated she wanted her last stone to be kind of behind the blue near the top of the house, so just to the right of the right blue from this view. Sitting 3. This is an opportunity for Team McDonald and Maiden Grow to get back into this game. Last rock for Maiden here in the 4th end. A little bit of a positive release there. Some might call it a pop. Needs to curl a bunch to get back into front of that blue that she wanted. Maybe you're looking for a plan B here. That settles in the top 12 foot. Good for 5th rock. So likely not much of a factor in this last shot unless something goes horribly wrong for Team Walsh. So unfortunately, I would probably score that as a miss. It's a little wide. When you do the positive release, you have to make sure that you release the stone on the line. I'm not quite sure if that was on target. And so now Walsh facing 3, trying to draw for 1 as the only real option here for her. Last rock here in the 4th end. She also came out a bit wide, but also she only needs to get back to the edge of the 4-foot, really. Just gonna wick off of the yellow and settle in the top of the forefoot. Good for one. That was a great shot there from Sarah Walsh. And she will take a 4-1 lead into the fourth end break. So as they take a break, we're going to take a break as well. Going to take a breather because we have more games on tap. We have 2 more games on tap today, and we have a whole slate of games Friday, Saturday, all leading up to Championship Sunday. And we hope you'll be with us throughout the entire weekend, including later tonight. Including later tonight. Sorry, trying to find the draw schedule. It probably would have been more effective if I had it ready sooner. Um, all right, so coming up at around 5 tonight, the next game will feature Team Aces from Silicon Valley taking Team Thangadurai from San Francisco. My apologies. That's going to be at 5, and then at about 9 tonight, the late game is going to be the first men's game on the stream. That's going to be Team Tate taking on Team Aronson. Those are both Coyotes rinks. Indeed they are. So do stay with us. We're going to take a quick pause, and we'll be right back to the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships. Let's go around the reins before we resume our coverage of our feature sheets. Again, all these scores are being posted to bonspieler.com. Bonspieler.com. There's Bon in yonder Spieler. We have 2 women's games on the ice. On sheet A, we have Team Aces and Team Ewers. After Ewers stole the first end, it's been all Aces in the next 3 ends as they are now at their 4th end break. Aces is up 3-2. Sheet B is our feature game between Team Walsh of San Francisco and Team McDonald of Coyotes, being stipped by Megan Grow. It's been mostly Walsh so far this game, up 4-1. The first men's game is on sheet C. Team Barajas from San Francisco is up 4-1 over Team Betts of Wine Country. Sheet D, it's a Coyotes clash between Team Tate with the Red Rocks taking on Team Murray with the yellow. Murray was forced in the first end, and then Tate scored 3 with a hammer in the second. And then it looks like in the next end, Murray got a point. So it looks to be 3-2. And then on sheet E, Team Aronson of Coyotes is up 4-3 over Team Meyer of San Francisco Bay Area. Again, all these scores are being posted at bondspieler.com. Bondspieler.com. Maybe not great for weddings, but good for curling scores. And as we're about ready to get underway here in the fifth end, this end is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Looking for a guard, I believe, from Team Walsh as I update the scoreboard. Team McDonald doesn't have the hammer. They're a little tighter on time, but again, they have 30 minutes to play 8 ends, and they are above that mark, or above the threshold in terms of pacing. So that's good to note. That first Walsh Rock is a tight guard, as we can see from this overhead view. So, and it's also nibbling the center line, so the no-tick rule is in effect. And that is a corner guard from Alicia Perry. Next strike coming from Kim Chapin. Looking for another guard, I believe. Oh, goodness, sorry about that. There we go. That's another centerline guard. So you have offset centerline guards that cannot be moved off that line. They can be pushed back on the line, but it's a tricky shot. And usually you don't go for that shot unless you have to, and so that's likely why Groh is opting to try to draw around with Perry's second stone here. And unfortunately, it does curl into the center line, and the no-tick rule rears its head again. So as we see, Kate Garfinkel gets set. We were talking earlier ago about the Kate and Sarah being at Arena Nationals, and it's great that they were able to go to Arena Nationals, but they've also kind of not necessarily aged out, as it were, but they're not eligible anymore because they have dedicated ice, which is kind of the ideal outcome for a lot of curlers, is to graduate from arena ice, which is hockey ice, to hopefully have dedicated ice like they do here now in San Francisco. So Kate's shot there does kind of tick that guard up into the house. And so now Walsh is sitting 2. The YouTube chat has suggested a use for using Bondspieler for weddings, and that's for table assignments. I mean, I guess you could also use it to try and keep score for the toasts, the wedding toasts. Like, okay, bridesmaid, gave a pretty good toast, but the groomsman's up next. Let's see if he or she is going to be able to score an 8-ender with the toast. But as long as the father-in-law doesn't throw through with a stinker of a speech. So that draw is pretty successful, although it is somewhat open, and so it looks like Walsh is asking Garfinkel just to pluck it out, like an eagle in an eyeball. Looks pretty good. Looks like it's going to get around that guard and settle in right on top of that yellow. And just like that, Walsh is sitting 3 blues in the house. So it looks like Groh wants Michaela to throw a similar shot, get around that high guard, and settle on top of the blue that's right on the button. This one's hanging out though. Is it going to come back? And no, it breezes past it. You can feel the wind of the rock as it sails by, unfortunately. So with Walsh sitting 3 in the rings, looks like Gabrielle is going to be asked to just draw and put up a guard or put something tight tight to the rings in the top 12, maybe. So Walsh has been fairly aggressive this game and has been rewarded with a 4-1 lead. McDonald has had some opportunities, some misses, unfortunately. But McDonald is not out of it. They just kind of need to think about how they're going to get back into this game, as it were. And with the hammer, they're facing a pretty huge challenge because there's 3 Walsh rocks in the rings and 2 center guards. As Jen Collins delivers from the hack, looking to peel those guards. Gets one, just kisses the other guard, and gets rid of them both. That's our first double takeout of the game. And that was brought to you by doubletakeout.com. So looks like Coleman's going to put the guard back up. Looks to be a little heavy, so it's going to probably settle in at the top of the house. I said a little heavy, but maybe not. It is a tight, tight guard. Just like Kevin Costner from that movie where he was a bodyguard. Called, I don't know. So it looks like Walsh wants to peel the guard. It's a McDonald guard, but it's not helping Team McDonald at this point. Maybe run it back. Collins had to kind of fight to keep that rock on target, but I think she was close. Does pluck out one of those blue Walsh rocks. The shooter's going to roll wide to the right from this view. So in terms of numbers, Walsh is still sitting 3. However, those center guards that were kind of stymieing Team McDonald and Maiden Grow, those are not much of a factor anymore. So things might be swinging a little towards McDonald, but Team McDonald still has a little bit of work to do to get out of this end. And Team Walsh is in a pretty good position as they're looking to just put up another guard or a rock tight to the top of the rings. With Sarah Walsh's first here in the 5th end. This is curling a bunch, though, maybe. Looks like it's ending up in a fairly decent place, but looks like it over curled just ever so slightly. So that shot stone in the right on the button is available with a heavy draw, I believe. And it seems to be what Maiden Grow is asking for, as the Vice has her broom down. I haven't mentioned it yet, but 1 second, folks. Sorry. All right, as Maiden is asking for a little less ice. Jen's not holding the broom, although she's listed as the Vice, at least on the initial program. So let's see if this heavy draws, and it needs to curl like another half rock at least. It's going to be close. Does make contact. Shot rock moves to the back of the 8 foot into the 12 foot, and the shooter is open. So all Walsh really needs to do is get that yellow out of the way and sit 3 or 4, and then Team McDonald is going to be forced to a single, which is not a bad outcome for Team Walsh. Not so optimal for Team McDonald. As we have the last rock for Sarah Walsh without the hammer here in the 5th end. Just looking to make that yellow shot stone go away. It's going to be close. Okay. Wasn't that close. It was a good shot. A good nose hit, and just like that, Team Walsh is sitting 4. And Team McDonald and Maiden Grow is going to try to just nose hit on their own. Return the favor with a nose hit of their own and sit 1. And that'll be the best outcome for Team McDonald. So we should see a decent amount of weight just based on where the broom is positioned, as we have the last rock coming from Maiden Grow. This is more of a heavy draw, perhaps. Needs to sit around now. Needs to sit. Maybe it's just a smidge too heavy. It's going to settle into the back 8 foot. So that's a steal of 1 there for Team Walsh. I don't disagree with that call, because they tried to hit earlier and it didn't work out for them. And if they missed heavy like they did last time, they would give up a bundle. So I don't disagree with doing that draw. Just an unfortunate outcome there. So, but for Team Walsh, it's another steal of 1 as they take a 5-1 lead into the 6th end. Take another pause in the action. We'll be right back to the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. And today's coverage is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Check out rankings of the top men's and women's teams from around the world at doubletakeout.com. And by curling.gg. For skips and curlers who love a good game, curling.gg is your ultimate practice tool. End by End Game Curling. Unlock your potential with the curling broom that's right for you. All right, well, rots are in play here in this sixth end. We're playing 8 ends of regulation, although teams can choose to resign early if they feel it's out of hands or they just want to get focused on the next game or take a break. So looking for a corner guard, Team McDonald is trying to generate some offense, and Team Walsh is looking to obviously deny them. As we have the second stone coming from Kim for Team Walsh. Hoping for a centerline guard, but this is probably going to over curl slightly, ever so slightly. And I think it still is on the center line. For determining if a rock is on a line or in the house, you look at the whole of the rock. And so, like, even though the rock isn't physically touching the line, it's over the line, so it would count. As we have Alicia's second stone here, looking to draw. And this is dangerous. It might be on the guard. Indeed, it is on the guard. It actually touches both blues. I don't know if maybe it wasn't on the line. I thought it was on the line. But they're opting to leave the rocks as they played out. So either they are opting to, let it play out, or just maybe it wasn't on the line like I thought it was. First rock for Kate Garfinkel. This looking to draw around all those guards or put up a guard of their own. And that is a center line guard. That is definitely on the center line. However, that's the fifth rock to the end. So now Grow and Team McDonald can just do some clearing in front, although they need rocks in play. So this is an interesting approach. Again, not disagreeing because they need to create opportunities, and so maybe trying to clear these rocks now will create an opportunity later. Going to get one blue and get the other yellow moving. So both routes go out of the way, out of play. So again, no rots in the rings. As Garfinkel gets set for her second, probably a very similar shot to her first, trying to put up a centerline guard. Both Kim and Gabrielle are sweeping, I think, partly to hold the line. And it is another center guard. So Grow is opting to keep trying to clear the guards, try to open something up. I was thinking the alternative would be to start trying to draw, just like put rocks and then try and force play into the rings, which, as I mentioned before, I like to play lead when I'm not skipping. So that's my mentality is usually to draw, draw, draw if I can, especially when you need rocks in play. Does get rid of one of the blues again, although the situation in terms of the front being very heavily congested, they call it a Christmas tree. It's Christmas in January, y'all. And so now Walsh is going to draw around. So that's always kind of, I guess, a battle. One of the first times I won a tournament, we had to steal the last end, and so the question was how many guards do you put up and when do you start going into the rings? And conventional wisdom was to kind of keep putting up guards, but the vice for my team wanted to just like it was very kind of nerve wracking. So I was like, let's just go in now and then draw the play into the rings and hopefully get lucky, and we did, and that's how we won the event. Um, so that trashes in the guards in the front, kind of rearranges the ornaments on the Christmas tree, as it were. Walsh is choosing which of the guards to move around. I was thinking that she could try to like hit the inside of the blue and maybe roll in undercover, kind of just, getting the best of both worlds, as it were. Opting to move one of the yellows. I don't know if they want to move it into the rings or maybe did that ricochet I was talking about. So it runs the yellow back, but it just like glances off of the blue, which barely budges. And the ornament rearranging continues. Although it looks like Walsh wants to try and draw through that port with Coleman's second rock, I believe. Try to get through the port, but if it crashes on the pile, that's not a bad outcome for Team Walsh. And it looks like it is going to be in the pile. It might, no, I was going to say it might tap the yellow onto the blue. It does tap the yellow, but the yellow just kind of taps the other yellow, opens it up. So Groh is now opting to draw in. And also, like, thinking of the scoreboard is kind of an important element. Especially when you're starting out, sometimes you kind of think about from shot to shot, but you don't think about like from end to end, and then also like over the course of the game. So McDonald definitely needs to score here to have a chance to come back into this game because there's only two more ends after this. And it's a situation where she'd probably had to score two here and then steal the last two ends to have a chance. This is going to crash on the blue. Does tap that blue into the rings, I believe. That does appear to be the case. So now it is Walsh sitting a single. Looking to draw around all that Christmas treeage. This is Sarah Walsh's first without the hammer here in the sixth end. Looking to draw around the guard. And as soon as they're around the guard, it'd be off, but it crashes on the guard and rolls wide to the left. In the house, good for two right now. But that draw around is maybe a little easier, so Grow is going to want to take that on. As Grow gets set. Looking to draw around here. This is Maiden's first with the hammer here in the sixth end. Needs to be in the range, hopefully buried. I think it might be hanging out. But it looks like it will be good for shot in the back of the 8 foot. So for the women's field, they are playing a full round robin with the 7 teams of the field. So both of these teams will have 5 more games after this first draw, as Sarah Walsh gets ready to bop that yellow rock out. This is the last rock for Team Walsh here, without the hammer here in the 6th. Looking to get the yellow out of the way. Looks like it might make contact. It does make contact. It will roll under cover, fairly well buried on the back of the 4 foot. Good shot there from Sarah Walsh. So now McDonald is forced to draw with their last. So for Maiden Grow and Team McDonald, they were not able to really adequately clear the guards to open it up. So they were kind of forced into this draw for a single, especially as Walsh kind of beat them into the ring. So a tough end there for Team McDonald, hoping to salvage a point here with Maiden Grow's last rock here in the 6th end. Line looks pretty good as it gets around the guards. It's going to settle in the back of the 4 foot, right on top of the yellow. So that's good for a single. As Team Walsh takes the hammer and a 5-2 lead into the 7th end. We'll be right back to the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. And ongoing coverage of the event is being brought to you by curling.gg. Curling.gg is the only platform where you can take your shot, watch it execute with accurate physics, undo and try again until it's perfect. Practice strategy, finesse your technique, and enjoy a good game, all for no charge at curling.gg. Oops, sorry. This end is being brought to you by Endgame Curling. First rock coming from Alicia Perry, who is holding the broom for Team McDonald for Skip Maiden Grove's last rocks of the end. As a center line guard, that's a well executed shot from Perry. Looks like Kim Chapin is being asked to put up a corner guard or draw into the rings on the left side from this view. And that does settle in the top 12 foot. So Grow is asking for Alicia to draw around. And it looks like there's another center line guard. The no tick rule is still in effect for another 2 rocks. As we see the next rock coming from Kim. Let's go around the rings real quick. On sheet A, Team Aces of Silicon Valley is up 7-2 over Team Ewers of OC Curling. Sheet B is our feature sheets. Team Walsh is up 5-2 over Team McDonald, minus McDonald. On sheet C, Team Barajas of San Francisco is up 4-3 over Team Betts of Wine Country. Sheet D, it's pretty heavily in favor of Team Tate of Coyotes, 5-1 over Team Murray, also of Coyotes. Although they haven't posted a score since the third end. Not quite sure what's happening there. On sheet E, Team Arison of Coyotes is up 7-3 over Team Meyer of San Francisco. So all those scores are being posted at bonspieler.com. Returning to our feature game, there's 2 Walsh stones in the rings, and it looks like McDonald was trying to draw around with one of Michaela McLean's rods, but it's just a smidge heavy. Goes through the house out of play. And so now the 5 rock rule is over, and so now Walsh is looking to see how they can get rid of those yellow stones, which helps McDonald. We talked about guard strategy earlier. Kind of when to keep putting up guards, when to draw around. There's a common rule of thumb where if you don't have the hammer, you want to try to control the center and the front of the house. And then if you don't have the hammer, you want to kind of try and draw play to the wings. Oh my goodness. That will just breeze by everything. It's an unfortunate miss there from Garfinkel. So you want to try and draw play to the wings to try and set up multiple points. Obviously, you kind of have to adapt your strategy when there's so many guards in play. But think about what your outcome wants to be, and then also how aggressive you want to be. So if you want to be aggressive on offense, you want to have more rocks in play to try to generate multiple points. And then if you want to be more defensive, you try to hit the rocks out. So then it's like there's no place for the other team to hide and try to find multiple points. So that was a pretty aggressive offensive strategy from McDonald, and it didn't pan out at the last end. But let's see if it might pan out here this end in the 7th end, because they need at least a couple to stay in this hunt. Only down 3 though, so not too bad for Team McDonald. Although Walsh has definitely had a fairly solid game as well. So looking to make contact on any of these yellows really. Looks like it's gonna hit the guard. Let's see what happens when it strikes. So it hits hits both of the guards. One of the yellows goes through the house out of play, and then the shooter will roll wide to the top of the screen or the right from our normal face-on view. So Maiden Grow is, I think, looking to put another rock into the top of the house. For Jen Collins's first stone here. Third rocks in the 7th end. Team McDonald does not have the hammer, so they need to steal here and a steal again in the 8th end if it gets that far. So I thought they were going to put up a guard, but it looks like they put up a rock behind the guard, which is, I think, a great outcome. Looks like it might be a second shot. Hard to say from this overhead view. But it looks like Walsh wants Coleman to just peel the guard. Oh my goodness. That was an unfortunate miss there because it missed all the yellow stones and actually peeled the blue Walsh rock that was second, maybe third stone. So now the pendulum has swung a little bit towards McDonald, a window opening after so many doors have closed in this game. I'm using a little bit of poetic license. But definitely an opportunity is available for Team McDonald and Skip Maiden Grow. Looking to, I think, provide some more cover for the Skip Stone. It's over curling a little bit, so this might give Walsh the opportunity now. Walsh could try to make a play with a heavy draw on the shot stone in the back four, but she is opting to peel some more of that front cover with a Coleman second stone here. Looking for some redemption is Gabrielle. And redemption indeed. She gets two of those yellows moving. That is a double takeout brought to you by doubletakeout.com. So just like that, we went from 2 or 3 yellows in a prime position to just 1, but still Grow and Team McDonald have an opportunity to steal here, and they need to take it. So I think they're looking to maybe draw. But this is Megan Grow's first rock without the hammer here in the 7th end for Team McDonald. Looks to be a little heavy, just out of hand, but sweepers are on it. I think they wanted to try and pick out the blue on the edge, and they do, and it's going to roll back towards the center. Not quite enough to cover the shot stone, but that was a good shot there from Maiden Grow. So it looks like Walsh is going to try to line up a double. on those yellows in the rings. Just make it that much harder for Team McDonald to mount their comeback. Looking for a double as Susan Walsh gets set. This is her first stone with the hammer here in the 7th. Sweepers jump on it. Going to get one of the yellows. They're going to get two. Just one of the yellows goes through the house out of play. The other yellow is on the button right in the center of the rings. Pretty open though, so Walsh might try to put up another rock. I would say like maybe they're looking at where to put it. I would think about kind of where the words are, where like where it says like this is Ohlone land, almost like where the N and the E are perhaps, or biting the 8-foot ring perhaps. That's pretty wide. Um, so normally when you do draws, oh no, is she gonna try to make a play on those blues on the wings? I don't think so, but so normally if you want to do a draw, you usually try to put the broom on the tee line unless it's difficult or they can't see the broom because the broom it provides like a fixed point of reference, and so you can move the broom along the tee line and you would know that the angle is going to stay pretty similar. This is a draw. They need to make sure it's full 12 foot to have a chance to steal two here. This is going to be light, but the line is pretty good. And not a bad outcome. Um, I was thinking they would try to go for two now and then try to steal two in the 8th. But if they get a steal of one here, I think they keep their hopes alive into the 8th end. So it appears that Walsh is set up for a draw. Even like a slightly heavy draw wouldn't be too bad as long as it doesn't breeze past the shot stone. But you also don't want to be too light because it might crash on those guards in the front of the rings. This is the last rock here, the hammer in the 7th end coming from Sarah Walsh. Sweepers are on it. Weight looks pretty good, but it looks like it might be on the guard. It is. This is going to be a steal of one for Team McDonald and Maiden Grow as they inch ever so much closer to Walsh's 5-point lead. We're going to take a pause in the action. We'll be right back to the 2025 DoubleTakeout.com MoPac Championships coming to you live from San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. Today's coverage is being brought to you by DoubleTakeout.com. Throughout the competitive curling season, proprietor Tim Pomeroy updates doubletakeout.com with the latest stats and information about the top men's and women's teams from around the world. The site features insights and statistics from the latest curling events at doubletakeout.com. So the first rock of the end for Team McDonald, Alicia Perry draws into the reins, and so Walsh wastes no time putting the broom down for a takeout. A bit of a missed opportunity for Team McDonald as they need rocks in play to try to steal two here. Although this rock is on target. Coleman had to really sweep to hold on, but she made it. That yellow's gone, and it looks like Team McDonald skipped by Maiden Rose, going to try to put up the guard again. So talking about the angles and everything, Maiden had her broom a little further up in the house, and it distorts the angle ever so slightly, which might not seem like a big deal, but when you're talking about trying to get through a gap that might only have enough of like a width, a tolerance of a couple inches or like a few millimeters, you know, angles are important. So when you have so really quickly, as we see the net stone coming from Kim, Walsh had her broom on the tee line, and so that the angle is going to be pretty consistent. But if she stepped even like 2 or 3 steps forward, the angle would shift out just ever so slightly. So, but everyone's kind of got their own style of play, and I understand sometimes you have to do what you got to do. That one's a little heavy, so that now it creates a bit of an opportunity for McDonald. But again, this is a situation where for Team Walsh being up two, they don't necessarily need a lot of rocks in play. And for Team McDonald, they need a lot of rocks in play because they need to try to steal two, or if not three, for the outright win. As the first rock for Michaela McLean heads down the ice, it sails. You can hear the roar of the stone as it rumbles down the ice. I love this game. I hope you guys do too. This is going to be a center guard if it gets over the hog line, and it will. Looks like it over curls ever so slightly, so it's not by definition a center line guard, like a no-take center line guard, but it's a center-ish guard. Although it's also the fifth rock to the end, so Walsh can now just blast these rocks and give Team McDonald nowhere to hide, no cover. We like to call this game chess on ice, and this is kind of where the chess on ice metaphor kind of comes to fore, where it is a bit of a battle, there's a bit of a war. This does dislodge one of the yellows out of play, but the yellow other guard kind of rolls into the wings. Looks like it's biting the edge of the house. So now Walsh is going to try to hit the blue out. I would try to roll it towards the edge if they could, as McLean gets set for her last here in the eighth end of regulation. Teams are doing okay on time. Teams also have timeouts if they need to. I say timeouts plural. It's actually timeouts singular. This looks pretty close. It does hit, and it will roll under the cover of the center guard. And there's another rule of thumb where you don't want to use the other team's stones as cover as guards, but sometimes you have to use what's available to you. And in this case, is going to be the Walsh guard, which is also why Walsh wants that guard to go away. Garfinkel threw a slightly off-weight shot. Sweepers jumped on it right away. As we see contact, it's going to hit one of the yellows through the house, out of play. But then the blue shooter rolls close to the center, so now Groh is going to try and use that guard again. Any port in a storm, as they say. Looking for a draw, looking for about 4 feet of curl. This might be another good shot to time. Because we were seeing about up to 15 seconds hog to hog to reach the tee line early in the game. Let's see where we're at now. They went on the top of the house. So I got 14.94, which is going to be pretty close to what they wanted. That was a beautiful shot there from Jen Collins. So again, Walsh just wants to clear the guard, make it go away. Hopefully get one of the yellows on the way out. As we see Coleman's last here. Not her last, her first. Going to peel the blue. That's all. So it looks like Groh wants to split the rings, which is a tricky situation. They have not used their timeout yet. I wonder if they would maybe want to use their timeout to talk about where to go. Because they could try to keep putting guards up, or they could try to draw under, or do what Maiden's suggesting. I mean, these are all viable options. It's just, I think, trying to figure out what the best strategy is. As we see Collins throw her last here, looking to, I think, draw to the top of the 8-foot ring. Okay, that's they actually wanted to draw in to the back at the 8-foot. And so that is now shot stone. There's a double opportunity up top, which is what Walsh is asking Coleman to take on. Is the double there? It's one pushes the other yellow out of the house, so it's pretty close to a double takeout. We need a cool nickname for double takeouts that aren't full double takeouts. Maybe counter service? I don't know. That was a good shot there from Coleman. Cuts Team McDonald down to a single point, making it that much harder for McDonald to steal two to tie the game, force an extra end. Just a reminder, we're going to be back on the air at about 5 o'clock Pacific tonight for the next women's draw between Team Aces of Silicon Valley taking on Team Thingadurai of San Francisco. And it's going to be at 5 o'clock Pacific time here on the MoPac YouTube channel. Do hope you will tune in. As sorry about that, folks. we'll get it back. This is the first of two rocks coming for Team McDonald and Skip Maiden Groh. I think looking. Oh, this needs to be in the house. This is coming up a little light. If they don't, it's light. I wonder what happened there. So that makes the algebra. I didn't do so hot in calculus in high school, so I'm going to stay focused on curling algebra. That makes the algebra a little bit easier for Walsh. They make this yellow go away. It's next to impossible for McDonald to score two. So as Sarah Walsh cleans her rock, looking for a nice hit. Just need to make that yellow go away, and it will likely be handshakes for Team McDonald. And Team Walsh will secure their first win of the 6-game round robin. This is Sarah Walsh for their first 8th end here, looking to make a yellow rock go away. Needs to come over just ever so slightly. And it's enough. So that yellow goes away. And I think Maiden's maybe looking over her options. I don't think they can bring that yellow into the rings very easily. You could perhaps split it in. The angle's really tough. That's what they're looking at. They are calling their timeout. So teams have 90 seconds, I think, to conduct their timeouts. So as Team McDonald skipped by Megan Grow, they gather on the around the house, looking at their options. The only real option is to try to split that yellow into the rings. Let me show you the overhead, guys. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, I can see two views at once, so that's why I kind of get stuck on one view without switching to the other. So they're looking to try to split two of these. They need to spill that yellow. The angle's not totally out of reach. Like if they hit it, they do have to hit it pretty close to nose, kind of where they indicated. If the stone was a clock dial, it'd be about like 8 o'clock. They would need to hit it, and it would hit the edge of the 12 foot, and then they would need to have enough. They need to have enough energy for the rock to get into the rings. They need to have enough energy for the shooter to get into the rings. It's a tough, tough shot, but that's the shot. Looks like they're set up for, I would say, backline weights, backline to hack weights. It's definitely not a gimme shot as Megan Grow gets set. This is her last to try to stay alive without the hammer here in the 8th end. Line looks pretty good. Sweepers jumped on it. Needs to make sure it hits like right around 8 o'clock or, just to the right of center from this view. It's close. Is it going to be enough? No, it doesn't get over. It's just going to be a single. If Walsh throws her stone, but she doesn't have to. So that is going to be handshakes. So Walsh will take the opening win here over Team McDonald, skipped by Megan Grow. Team Walsh is going to be back on the ice at 5, facing Team Camarena from San Francisco. And Team McDonald will be back out tonight at about 9 to face Team Aubrey of Coyotes. So let's take a quick trip around the rings, and then we'll wrap things up for our first draw as competition is wrapping up. And again, all these scores are being posted to bonspieler.com. Let's see here. One second, folks. All right. There's the way to bring the web browser into the broadcast, but actually all the games have wrapped up, so we can tell you who won, who lost, who will have a leap in their step. I don't know, a light in their step. On sheet A, Team Aces of Silicon Valley was a 7-4 winner over Team Ewers of OC Curling. Sheet B, our feature sheet, was Team Walsh 5-3 over Team McDonald, skipped by Megan Bro. Sheet C, a men's game, saw Team Barajas of San Francisco, the 7-3 winners over Team Betts of Wine Country. On sheet D, another men's game, Team Tate of Coyotes was a 9-4 winner over Team Murray, also of Coyotes. And then on sheet E, the final men's game of this draw was Team Aronson, the 9-5 winners over Team Meyer of San Francisco Bay Area Curling. So that will help wrap up our coverage of the first draw. Just another super friendly reminder that our coverage of the 2025 DoubleTakeout.com MoPac Championships is being brought to you by DoubleTakeout.com. In addition to curling.gg and by Endgame Curling at endgamecurling.com. So that's going to help wrap things up for our first draw. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you'll join us at 5 tonight, where the contest will be Team Mewers of OC Curling taking on Team Camarena. That's tomorrow. The next game is going to be Team Aces of Silicon Valley taking on Team Thangadurai of San Francisco. That's going to be our 5 o'clock game. Just also another reminder that this broadcast is presented by authority of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. So, on that joyful note, this has been your host, Ryan, saying we hope to see you at 5 p.m. on behalf of all of us here at MoPac San Francisco Bay Area Curling. And on behalf of our sponsors, so long and good curling.